advertising campaign. Glorious and available rates to you and your company. So remember, call us say at IBN 663-4762 or 795-5900 and be a part of the IBN family.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, my dear viewers. Welcome once again to another edition of your favorite tech program, Techno, right here on IBN, and this is a live program. I am your host, Dr. Shahanshah Ali Qasim, and tonight's topic, we're talking about security systems in your homes and your offices. But before we actually get into the topic, the question is, why are we talking about security systems? Well, I'll tell you why. We have seen so many things happening with regards to home invasions, security issues with regards to at work, robberies, and so much other issues that you might have. Many of you out there would have already gotten security systems installed in your homes, and we would be discussing exactly what you should look for if you're looking to install one, if you didn't have one already, what you can look for with regards to a security system at your work, and what options are available on the local market. And then we're going to talk about if you would like to do it yourself. I will actually go through, which I have some gadgets here, what are some of the items that you would need, what to look for, what you can get as the case may be. So let's get straight into the topic. Now, most of us, most of you, if not everyone in Trinidad and Tobago, have been affected by crime in some form or the other. Whether we know someone who has been affected by crime, we have been affected by crime ourselves, or we know someone who knows someone who knows someone, or we see it in the news. So it is no misconception or no thought other than knowing that safety is very important. Now, there are situations, as we will see in the media, that those who commit crimes either will be deterred by certain type of security systems, and then some of them, they are not deterred. What I mean by that, they will actually walk into your property with cameras focused on their faces, and then they will find some way or the other to actually hide from the camera. So for example, you'll see that people are now putting on hoodies, they're putting on caps. Sometimes you go into a business and you'll see a sign mark, no hoodies or caps allowed for people coming into the establishment, especially banks and so on. Now, we would see cameras, we would hear about cameras, and sometimes they are actual cameras that people install, then they are dummy cameras. The issue now is that we're going to talk about what a typical security system looks like, where we talk about the actual security system installed in your home, and we're going to talk about security systems installed in your offices. So let's get into it. With regards to security systems in your home, now most of you would know, okay, a security system might consist of one of these, which is simply, this is our out-of-the-box system. This is just simply a security system which consists of cameras and the apparatus to hook up the camera. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But then some of you might not understand or might not realize that other than camera systems to install in your homes, there are other things that you can install. So for example, you can install things like magnetic sensors. So magnetic sensors are normally a two-piece sensor that you would install on things like your windows. So if your window was to open or close, whether it be a push up or push down window, or it be one of those slide out or one of those slide to side, one of those windows, you would have magnetic sensors installed. So if the window was to open and the magnetic sensor was to break, then it will trigger an alarm or trigger an alert. So that is known as your sensors that you put onto your windows and your doors. Another mechanism that you could install, for example, would be a shock intensity detector. So that means that someone take a hammer, they hit the door or they hit the glass. Before anything happens, before they get into the home, that sensor will pick up that shock, that vibration. Another thing that as well that is available is you can actually put in something known as a glass break sensor. So that simply is a sensor that detects the sound of broken glass. Yes, it will go off if you walk into your home. You have a glass, let's say a glass with water, or you have an empty glass and it was to fall and break, and that sound of glass breaking, it will trigger the alarm. But of course, you can switch off the alarm. So there are things you can install, as I mentioned to you, which a lot of people don't know about. You have your glass break sensors. You have your shock absorbers, which detects vibration. You can have your installer, or even if you're installing it, you can adjust the sensitivity of it. And then you can also install the open or close or the magnetic sensors that you normally would put onto things like your windows and your doors. Now, that is just one of the aspects that make up a security system. A security system is exactly that, a whole system of different pieces to make up the whole kit, or the whole system that works together seamlessly. Another thing that you can install in your homes that a lot of people don't know that they can get is you can have your security system interfaced with something known as your smoke alarm. So you probably, most time people will put a smoke alarm in their kitchen, but you can probably put smoke alarms in every room, for example, bedrooms, kitchen, living room, dining room, or any other part of the home. The reason for that is sometimes not only where it have smoke, there's said that where there's smoke, there's fire. Sometimes you might have smoke in the kitchen, but it might not necessarily be a fire out of control. It might just be that someone cooking and they burning the pot, if you want to call it that. So you can adjust the sensitivity of the smoke. Some smoke detectors will detect things like gas leaks. So, you know, in the news recently, we hear about gas tanks exploding. Sometimes the gas tank exploding is not because the gas tank itself had a leak. It could be that the head that you put onto the gas, that head after a while becomes defective, because you have to understand, these are things that is mechanical. So when you put it in, take it back out, put it in, take it back out, put it in, take it back out, over a period of time, there's wear and tear. Sometimes the hose, based on how it's connected, could have a leak. For example, you have a kink, the hose has been leaked, or it's not connected properly, and over a period of time, that leaking of gas will, of course, create a problem. What most companies do that manufacture gas for cooking at home, the actual natural gas that we use does not have a scent per se. We cannot detect it by smell. So what they do is that they actually add an additive into the gas. So if there is a leak, you would smell it. You actually have a particular scent that the gas will have, but it's not the original scent of cooking gas. It is an additive that they put on, so which burns out when the gas is running. So you can probably consider putting in a smoke detector. Another thing as well that you can consider having in your homes with regards to your security system would be the alarm, the panic alarm. So for example, most people know, okay, you know what, I put in a security system. I can either put it in myself, I can actually go to a company to have it installed, or I can go to one of those phone carriers who offer security systems. Now, reality is what they simply do is they put in some cheap, inferior quality devices in your home. They charge you a rental fee compounded over a period of time. So, for example, let's say the security system costs $1,000. They might charge you, okay, $200 rental for a period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with the same system. So guess what? When you think you could have just put out $1,000 or $2,000 and buy a system, you will be paying thousands of dollars over a period of time to the same company for a security system. Now, other than going that avenue, you can install your own security system or have a company install it. And then you could have a monitoring system or monitoring service connected to your security system so that, God forbid, something was happen, you're not at home or you're at home and something was happen, you can actually trigger an alarm that would either do two things. One, you trigger an alarm that will give out a siren that will detect, give out some kind of alert to alert yourself, the neighbors, people outside of the home, something is happening in the home. That's one. The second thing as well you can do is you can have a security system or security company install what is known as a monitoring service. So with that monitoring service, different companies offer different packages. They simply connect to your existing security system with either a wired system, which used to happen a long time. They used to use the phone system, but now most companies are now getting away from the copper lines. They are now going wireless. So what they do is they put in a SIM card similar to a cell phone into your security main panel, which is normally placed somewhere in your home in a hidden area. So for example, a hidden area could be a closet, in a wall, in your ceiling, behind something, behind a counter, behind some, I wouldn't say the fridge, but behind some closet or whatever the case may be. Sometimes they even put it inside of a closet and then put clothes in front of it. But I'm not telling you this to let you know alone. I'm not demanding this, but I'm going to go into some other details just now. So one of the things you can do with your security system is that you can have a monitoring service connected to your security system at home or at office that they will monitor. Now, these are these things that you need to know. One, security companies will tell you, okay, you're leaving your home, you arm your security. You have a keypad, you put in your 4-digit, 5-digit, 6-digit, whatever it might be, code. You have 30 seconds or 60 seconds to leave the home. And once you leave the home, the alarm kicks in, and your property is basically monitored or managed, as the case may be. If for whatever reason you reach back home and you open the door, you have maybe 30 seconds to enter the home, a beep will sound off, you switch off the alarm. You don't switch it off in time, the alarm kicks in, and then you can switch it off. Now with a monitoring service, what they do is that if your alarm was to trip or to trigger for whatever reason, whether it be an actual trigger or a false trigger. Actual trigger meaning you had an emergency that you need to have someone respond to you. A false trigger is where, for example, you open the window and you forget it and you didn't close it properly, or a bird fly and hit the glass and break the glass, so the alarm trip. What happens is that the security company will call you on the phone, or either call you on your phone, or you might have 3 or 4 other people they might call. They will send a text message and say, look, something has happened at this location. They alert your people or the people you assign to detect that something is happening at this particular location. Most times they will pick up the phone and they will call and they will say, hi, I'm calling you from security company XYZ. Just calling to see everything is all right, your alarm was just triggered. And then you could simply say, yes, it was tripped by mistake, or no, we have an emergency. Now, obviously, if you have a situation whereby you have a home invasion, you wouldn't answer the phone and say, and you have a gun to your head, you wouldn't say, well, I have a home invasion because they might shoot you. What you could do, though, is that you can give them a secret code. For example, you can say, and simply say, instead of saying, the home is good, everything is good, it was such a false alarm, you can say, for example, I forgot to tie the dog, and the dog ran into the alarm. That is a simple slogan that you can say under duress, and they will already know, hey, what? This person has a problem. They will need to respond. So they contact the police, or they contact They might have their own security team that they will send to your home to do further investigation, as the case may be. Of course, that's a service that you pay for. Now, other than that, we have seen, for example, so much of these home invasions and problems happening, especially being targeted to elderly or those who live by themselves. We recently saw in the news where someone, they had a home invasion, and apparently when the family members left, the older lady was there, and they came in and they burglarized the place, and they killed the lady, unfortunately. But this is something that is not new to Trinidad. We should not get familiar with it. We should not feel as our comfort zone. What we should understand is this is where we are, this is what we're living in, but we need to put things in place to at least curb that problem, to secure ourselves, to secure our families, our loved ones, our possessions, wherever it might be, whether it be at work or at home. So another thing you can consider, for example, is you can consider having a portable panic switch or panic button. So for example, you might have that as a little keychain, and that keychain could be put onto like a wristband, and it's a small little device that they will have something happen, you just press it, right? Of course, it's designed in such a way that you wouldn't press it by mistake, because you actually have to press it maybe for about 2, 3, 4 seconds, as the case may be, or you might have to press like press. Might have a sequence of pressing you have to do to trigger an alarm. So just like you in the bank or in a company, or you might have a situation whereby someone go up to a teller, God forbid, and they pull out a gun and they say, look, give me the money. They might listen and abide, but most times, most tellers in the bank, they have a panic button right underneath the counter. They press the button, it sends a silent alarm to a monitoring service or the security company or the police, as the case may be, who hopefully now will then respond accordingly based on the nature of the panic. So you can also have a panic button. You can have panic buttons installed, for example, in your bedroom, next to your bed, for example, like the side table. You can have a panic button installed in your bathroom. You might have a room in your home that you regard as the safest room or the most fortified or secure room that you might have in your home. You might have a panic button there. You might have a panic button installed, for example, on a little necklace around your neck. Now, most of those panic buttons are supplied by companies that supply security systems. They have options. So one option, for example, could be it's around your neck, but it's waterproof. So, you're going to take a shower, for example. You can take a shower and you don't have to worry about it getting wet, or you can have it installed like a ring. So it's a ring with a little button, and that button, for example, will be like a panic button. Now with smart technology and with artificial intelligence, you can even have a ring, and when it detects your blood pressure going up a particular way, unless you have a high blood pressure, it detects your heart rate and then issues a trigger. So for example, you're under duress, your body pumping an additional amount of adrenaline. It automatically detects that in your blood, and it triggers an alarm to let people know, hey, either one, you have a medical emergency, or two, you have an emergency that you're under duress, okay? So these are just some of the things that you can look at in terms of security systems. Now, other than that basic framework of a security system in your home, we have what is known as smart homes and smart devices that you can connect. So for example, other than all those things that I've spoken about, which could be connected with a wire, you also have wireless devices that you can connect. The idea about it is that you create what is known as a geofence or a protective fence around your home. So if you, for example, going to sleep in the night, for someone to enter your home, the first thing they need to do is that they need to physically break the perimeter of your home. Unless, of course, they're in a helicopter or they jump out of a plane and they skydive and they fall on your roof. They have to be able to enter the perimeter of your home. So the perimeter will be the boundaries of your home. Most times, your home is situated in the middle of a piece of land. So whether it be an apartment building, it'd be an apartment, it'd be a house by itself, you must have a certain amount of perimeter. So what you can also put in is something known as geofence sensors that basically detects motion. So you're going to sleep in the night, you put it on, It will have a certain sense of smartness, if you want to call it that it will detect a bird, a dog or a cat, a lizard or one of those small little insects, and then it will detect a bigger object like a human being. How it detects that human being, it sends out an infrared signal. It creates something called a geofence, which simply means that it creates a list of lasers. It scans your perimeter, it creates a list of lasers. And most times it will either send out a signal that will then receive back a signal, or it will create, from one beam to another beam, it sends a beam. The minute that beam is broken by a certain large object, meaning it's a human being, or sometimes it can detect infrared heat waves of a human body, it will trigger an alarm. So before the person even enter your home, the minute they come to your property, the alarm triggers, you are alerted, you can see what's going on. We take a break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about some security cameras. We'll talk about artificial intelligence in those security cameras. I'll show you some security equipment and show you what is in the box, what to look for, and we open the lines and take your calls as well. Stay tuned.
A meeting of friends, a familiar place, the first sip of something special, a warmth of the sun, laughter, friendship, and a taste as bright as the moment. A bond between father and son, lessons passed down, memories created. The cool touch of the river, the crackle of a fresh drink. Moments like these are what stay with us forever. A sip of serenity, refreshing and pure, the gentle rustle of leaves. A push beyond limits, strength in motion, every step, every heartbeat, every challenge met with unstoppable power inside. The fuel to go further, to push harder, to be more. The grind, the focus, and at the end of the day, we come together. A table full of flavors, a room filled with laughter, a night of stories and memories. Different tastes, different moments, but one feeling. Because the best things in life aren't just tasted, they're shared. Taste Sultan drinks now. You know what you drink.
Construction Services and Supplies Limited has built a reputation over the years on reliability, honesty, and pride, with a qualified and experienced workforce to oversee all projects, commercial, industrial, and institutional. We deliver the highest quality designs, build and remodel equipped for the pulse of construction needs. Construction Services and Supplies Limited, 1324 Southern Main Road in Rapport, 648-8882. That number again, 648-8882. Construction Services and Supplies Limited. We are proud to partner with you.
Welcome back once again to TechKnow right here on IBN. This is a live program aired every Thursday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. right here on IBN. And there's a rerun on Saturday afternoons as well. So if you missed it, you can see the rerun. Remember, if you're on the go, you're traveling, you can see us on Facebook Live, you can see us on YouTube, and you can also see us on Tego TV. That's tegotv.com. You just log in, look for the icon marked IBN, click on it, and you're going to get streaming live 24/7. So once we are on, you'll be able to connect with us. Doesn't matter, not just Trinidad, it doesn't matter where you are. Whether in the Caribbean, North America, South America, or even Europe, you can look at IBN 24/7. So right before we went on the break, we were talking about security systems in your home security. I'm not going to get into the bill that was recently passed in Parliament with regards to defend yourself and so on. That is something totally different. What we're talking about is how to protect yourself using a simple thing as some security systems and preventative things that you can put into your home if you don't already have it, and what you can look at. Now, one of the things as well, if you have a security system, the question will be, my security system is working because of electricity. What happens if electricity was to go? So for example, you have an outage in an area, would my security system just shut down? Well, one of the things that you normally would do when you install in a security system you would install some type of battery system, whether it be a UPS for uninterruptible power supply, or you can put in a separate battery system that will normally control your security system. So for example, the average electricity might go for would be, let's say, 2 hours. So you put in enough batteries that will power your security system based on the power requirements for at least 2 or even 3 hours, which is something that you can get locally. You can buy those batteries, you plug it in, and once the system is running on electricity, it works normal. And similar to a car battery, when your electricity goes, the security system still continues to work. So that is something you can bear in mind. Another thing as well is that what has been happening in some cases, what some people do, they actually enter your home or enter your perimeter, as the case may be. Sometimes they do it when you're at home, sometimes they do it when you're not at home. And what they do is they simply come and they unscrew your meter, your TNTech meter in your property. So they cut all the current or all the electricity. And when they cut all the current, guess what? You have no power, you have no lights, you have nothing running. And then what they do is then they enter your property, and if you have a security system that is running on electricity without any battery backup, it goes down and you have generally no monitoring, no security. So there's a saying, the strongest chain is based on the weakest link. So you always want to tighten up and double up on it. Now, other than the typical security system, as I mentioned to you, that basically protects your perimeter, there's something called a PIR. So PIR simply means that it's an infrared sensor that most companies who do security will install in your home. They will put it into one area in a room. So for example, you have a square room, they'll put it in one corner. And what that does, it sends a signal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it scans like this, horizontal, and it scans like this, vertical. Now that's an infrared sensor that is an invisible laser beam. What it does is, if you're in your home and you arm put on your alarm, what it does, it arms the perimeter. So the perimeter or the external area of your home is armed. If a window is open, a door is open, a window or glass of a window is broken, the alarm trips or triggers and it sends off a signal. Now some people, what I would normally advise you to, you put in a siren, so it gives an audible noise, as well as you can have those security systems that is linked with software to your home in terms of a recording device. Now that is what we're going to talk about. So this device here that I have in my hand is, I just took it out of a box, this box here. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So this device is known as a DVR, or a digital video recorder. Okay, so this is a pretty big one. It have devices or recorders that is actually this size, much smaller. But this particular device has a built-in hard drive. Now you have different types of DVRs on the market based on the security system, and they support a different number of cameras. So for example, at the back of this, you will see I am showing you 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So this particular unit here supports up to a maximum of 16 cameras at one time. You have your power port right here. You have your network port. You have 2 USB, which you normally would use a mouse and a keyboard. And then you have your HDMI, which you will plug in a monitor. And you'll be able to see what's going on with those cameras. Inside of this device, there's normally a hard drive that records the data. And normally, in a case like that, once all your security cameras are installed, this will be connected not only to your internet, it will also be connected to a monitor or television that you can see. And then most of these devices now, they come with software that interfaces with your mobile phone. So with most of the newer DVRs on the market now, you can connect, I'll just show you the side of here so you can see what I'm talking about. You can now connect your, right here, your cell phone, your mobile phone with it. And this particular device that I have here, it has something called AI technology right here. So it will detect the car, it will detect the Right, so the car, it will detect a human being, and everything is on your phone. Now, this particular service, or this particular device, well, this particular one is a 10-camera unit. Although this DVR supports 16 cameras, you can hook up 10 that comes in the box, and then you can also buy additional cameras. Now, when it comes to video cameras or monitoring cameras, there are many options you can look at. Option one, you buy a kit like this, comes with generally most things you need in the box. So it comes with, I have the actual kit here, I'll just show you what it is. It comes with the connecting cables, which you can use, right? So this is 10 cameras or 10 cables. It comes with your power supply, which is right in here. It comes with the brackets for connection. It comes with, of course, your cameras. So I'll just open up one of them and show you what it looks like. Just use a knife and open the box. Right, so this is just one of the cameras. Just took it out from the box. And this is one of the cameras here. Now, this particular camera that I have in my hand is designed in such a way that this is the camera. So it has a bracket that you will mount onto the wall. You have an adjustable bracket here, so you can put the camera up and down, left and right. And then it has a built-in motion sensor, as well as this particular camera has different capabilities. Now, some cameras on the market comes with additional LEDs that allows you to see in the dark. So you might have pitch darkness, total darkness, and it has LEDs that send out infrared signal, infrared light. An object being detected with that infrared, it will then illuminate it so that you can see in the dark someone, some object, an animal, or any type of activity in the dark. That is normally used for your perimeter. Now, the other question will be, okay, so what happens now if somebody comes with a gun, they point at the camera and they shoot the camera? Now, yes, the camera will be destroyed, it will mash up. But then there are cameras on the market that's for sale that is bulletproof cameras. So you can buy cameras that is designed to take different type of firepower, or being fired on, from as simple as a handgun up to a shotgun, or even more. Okay, so that is something you could put that in place. That is normally installed at companies with high value equipment or high value resource or whatever it might be in that compound. So you might have a manufacturing company which manufactures items. They might have things that is valued at hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. They will put in those bulletproof cameras, bank for example. Another thing as well is that there's something called PTZ, right? So PTZ stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. So what that means is that the camera, so I'll just pick up this camera to show you, for example. The camera will be mounted on a bracket, and that bracket will allow it to do this. Side to side, they call that pan. It will allow it to tilt, so it will tilt from up to down. And then it will also allow you to zoom. So it will have a built-in zoom that will then zoom into a particular area. So for example, you're at home, you're in your office, you're at work, you're on the road, for example, you have your phone, and your security system or your camera system detect motion or detect movement. Now what can happen is that you can actually take your camera, you can move it in a particular direction, you can zoom in, and you will know, okay, something is happening, something is not happening, something's happening by the neighbor, for example, or it's happening at the back door or the front door, as the case may be. So these are things that you should bear in mind. Now, excuse me. One of the things as well is what has been found is that when sometimes some people come in to break in your place, they don't just show up today and break in your place. What some people do, which is something that a lot of you need to be alert of, is that they monitor your movements. So for example, they might stake out your home 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and look at your movements. You have a routine. You get up in the morning, you get dressed, you leave for work, you're out from 8 o'clock in the morning, and you finish work at 4, you be back home at 5. So guess what? They know from 7:30 in the morning to 5 p.m., you are not home. So your home is empty. So they monitor that. They monitor your movements in terms of, is it that you have one way in and one way out to your home? Or is it that you have 2 routes or 3 routes that you can take to get to where you live? That is something as well that they look at. And when they kind of understand, okay, this is your movement, so this is your motion, this is your routine, they sometimes just sit and wait for you to pop up at your home. When they pop up at your home, you might have electric gate or not electric gate. The minute you pull in front of your gate, they wait for you to open the gate, and as they're walking in, they walk behind you or they run up on you, as the case may be. And most times, they don't operate on one. They normally work with a team. In some cases, they have multiple vehicles that they would have stolen, and they might have multiple criminals who actually do these type of crimes. So what you do in a case like that, if you feel yourself being followed, or you look at the surroundings, you look around your surroundings when you're going home, when you're leaving home, as the case may be. If you have a security system, you can pull out your phone, you can monitor and make sure that your immediate surroundings, it's clear. There's no one inside the yard waiting. There's no one at the back door waiting for you to reach home and then pounce on you, as the case may be. If you see something, you can do something about it before you even put yourself in the hands of danger, okay? So in cases like that, you'll be very particular. Another security system that there is, for example, a lot of people install these Ring doorbells. And with the Ring doorbell, what it does simply, well, this is from Amazon. It interfaces with your mobile phone that you can download an app. You can have one phone, all members of the family can have a mobile phone. And if somebody presses this bell, it will ring your phone, or you might ring a device, for example. Like this particular device I have here, this is one of those devices that interfaces with the mobile phone through a wireless network. And when they press the bell, you would not just know somebody's at the door. With the camera, you can see them, you can speak to them because there's a camera. This camera has a microphone. And you can stay inside the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, and say, okay, hi, what it is you want? How can I help you? You have a package to drop off? No problem, just leave it at the door. Or you're asking for someone? No problem, well, that person is at home, so you can come back. Or you can check back, as the case may be. Now, the beauty about that system is that you can answer your door, and you don't even have to be in your house or even in the country, because when the door rings and your phone, quote unquote, rings because of the doorbell, you can watch the person. They don't have to see you, and you can speak with them. They might not know you're not even in the compound. You're living in Tunapuna and you're going Port of Spain, and they wouldn't know that you're not in the physical property. They just know that you're being answered, and you could just tell them, well, I'll be there shortly, or depending on who it is, as the case may be, you can be a little more vigilant. Now, what this system does is that it does monitoring, that's free. With the Amazon Ring system, what you have to do, you have to pay for something known as a cloud service. And it records 24 hours activity that is happening, whatever this is happening, is monitoring. And it's recording not in a local premise, meaning in your home or your office. It's recording in the cloud, meaning at a remote location on the internet. That's a service that you pay for. Something happens, God forbid, you could always go back and look at the footage and say, okay, you know what? Somebody was at my home, somebody was trying to get into my home, somebody was tampering with the remote, or they were tampering with the gate, the electric gate, so that they could have gotten into place. They was interfering with my vehicle. You will be able to monitor that, and they have them on record, which you can then download the footage and pass on to the local authorities to prosecute or to find those people, as the case may be. In addition to a security system like the cameras, other than PTZ, which is pan tilt zoom, there's something called dome cameras, which I don't have a picture of, but it's a camera that goes up like that with a little black piece of plastic. Most people would see it at a lot of malls and so on. Now, with dome cameras, there is a camera inside. Because it's a frosted dome, upside down dome, as the case may be, the average person could watch it, but they don't know what direction that camera pointing. Some of those dome cameras are stationary, and then some of those dome cameras could move. It could move from side to side, it could go up and down, As I said, it can do PTZ, pan, tilt, and zoom. And of course, those cameras are recording, or it can be monitored, whether it be local or foreign, or at a remote location. Now, another thing as well when it comes to home security, if you're thinking about installing that, you could consider two things. One, you can consider a wired system, which, for example, like what I just showed you, it comes with wires. This is physical wires here that you will then run along the perimeter of your home or through the wall. You drill some walls and put cables and so on. That's wired. And then you could also run wireless cameras, whereby it actually uses two things. It uses each wireless camera uses its own battery system, or it can have an independent power supply. So, for example, this camera that I have in my hand, it's a wireless camera. This camera has a built-in speaker, so you can put this any part of your home. It can be inside, outside, at the porch, at the back door, front door, wherever you want to put it. You can even put it inside the kitchen. You can put it in the office, as the case may be. Now, with this device interfaces with a solar panel. So I have a solar panel here. So this solar panel simply plugs into the camera, right? So it plugs into the camera, which there's a plastic cable. It plugs into the camera like that. And then there's a bracket that you can buy. So the bracket is bought and it slides in right here. So it's connected. I'm just showing you how it does. It slides into the back here. And then you have this solar panel somewhere that has sunlight. So it will be, for example, outside under the eave, facing the sun, whatever the case may be. Now, for some people might say, well, okay, so I'm going to get sunlight in the day. What's going to happen in the night? Is my camera going to go down? Well, most times, these cameras have a battery. So when the solar is running, it is charging and powering your camera. And in the night, when there's no light, the camera is running off the battery. And then the next day, when the sunlight comes back up again, the solar again powers and charges back the battery, and it's a recurring, ongoing process. So it's a way of saving on energy. Now, this particular wireless camera here that I'm showing you here is designed in such a way that you can put it independently at different parts of your home around the perimeter. You don't have to worry about drilling wires and doing all of that. And it connects with the system wirelessly through a wireless network. So with that now, you have cameras installed wherever around your home. You could move it at will. And it could work either together with the system, or it could work as an independent camera. So that's just one of the things you should bear in mind. Another thing as well is that when you have a wire system and it's connected to a DVR, okay? So this is your DVR. What has happened in the past, and it has happened recently as well, when someone, God forbid, breaks into your home, they does two things. One, bandits are not like really stupid people. They're a bit intelligent, unfortunately. So what they do, they will look at your camera, they will try to check through your home and find your DVR. Now, what most bandits do is they look at the camera. So if, for example, the camera is facing here, is this direction. So you, well, not you, the person will say, okay, you know what, the camera is facing this way. So let me try to go to the side of the camera where there is a blind spot, and then either hit the camera so they wouldn't see me, cover my face so that I could block the view of the camera, or in some cases what they do, they simply look at the blind spots and they go into your place where the blind spot is. So they actually work in an area where the camera is not focused. Now what happens is that when they get into your home, they look for this. This device is your DVR, your digital video recorder. And it records the data on your hard drive. Two things happen. One, sometimes they actually disconnect the wire, pick up this device and go with it. So if they go with the device that's recording all your video footage, there's no video footage on record because this is missing. The other thing as well is that sometimes they unplug the cable, so there's no activity, there's no power, there's no recording being done while they traverse through your home or your property or your office, and they have a field day, right? That's the second thing. And the third thing as well, sometimes they actually go through your video footage and they actually delete the footage that might have been recorded. So for example, it was recording, they break into your home, God forbid, they find the DVR, they didn't take the DVR, but they actually go and delete the footage of that was recording them breaking into your home. Then they stop the recorder, they do what they have to do, they leave with whatever they want to deal with. And when you come back and you find your DVR, guess what? Your DVR is there, the hard drive is there, the video footage has been erased. This normally happens when there's an inside job. And there's no recorded evidence of what's going on. So in a case like that, what you do, you always have a backup. Always remember one thing, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So remember you heard it this time. You have a backup. What I mean by that, you don't have one camera system. You have a minimum of 2 or even 3. Now some people will say, well, that's really expensive, why am I going to do that? Let me tell you why. Most times a bandit come in your place, God forbid, they will look for your DVR. They will take it, they will go with it, they will do whatever they have to do with it, they will mash it up. So you have 16 cameras or 10 cameras in your home, they're not going to find every single camera and disconnect the camera. They will just look for the brain box, which is this, and take it and go with it. If you have a secondary DVR hidden somewhere, in the roof, in the closet, in a bathroom, wherever you decide where you want to hide it, that's up to you. In the wall, more than likely, they will know about this camera system, but they didn't realize you had a second camera system. That's one. In addition to that, there's a DVR system which works as a system, as a whole unit. But there are also systems that you can put in which is independent cameras, which is single use, that goes into different places. For example, it goes into your stock room, into your closet, it goes into your bedroom. Well, not for any purpose, but your bedroom, meaning you're not at home, it records what's going on. You could even install hidden cameras, and hidden cameras are installed in things like clocks, paintings, drawings, wall art. A couple of years ago, we had a guest on who was showing some gadgets, and we were talking about hidden cameras and things as wall sockets, plugs. They had hidden cameras, for example, in little things that you have ornaments on your mantle. A hidden camera, for example, you wouldn't think you'd have a hidden camera in a bouquet of flowers, right? And these things now work independently from your system. How it works? It's a micro device with a little camera. It looks like an object in your home. You put in a battery the size of a watch battery inside of it. These units don't record 24 hours. What it does, there's a motion sensor. If it detects motion, so someone walk into a room, it automatically starts to record immediately. It detects there's no motion, the person come out of the room, it stops recording. So for example, there are camera systems that you can buy, which is small devices like a plug or a socket that looks like it. It goes onto the wall and it works with light. So you put on the light switch, you enter the room, it starts to record. You switch off the light switch, you come out of the room, it stops recording. And those things record on a simple memory card, a micro SD for example, which you can then come back afterwards, take out. Of course, you have to know about it, the person in the home, and then you could plug it into a computer or a laptop or a phone, and then you can extract the footage on that SIM card. And you can realize, hey, guess what? This is the person, this is what happened. They might have stolen the DVR, but they didn't know it had other cameras around the home. And that is another thing that you could bear in mind with regards to safety. But as I said, when it comes to your home security, other than cameras and all the gadgets that I spoke about with regards to putting into your home to secure your perimeter, you can also install a monitoring service. And as everything else, be vigilant, be aware, look at what's going on with regards to your surroundings, know what's going on. And if you're leaving your home, you look around. If you're returning your home, you look around. You're traveling out of the country, you don't go up on social media and say, I am in Europe, and I'll be out from Friday and I'll be coming back next week, because guess what? People already know you're out of the country. What I do, for example, is that when I go away, I don't put up footage of when I'm abroad. I put it up when I come back. So most times people message me and say, hey, I see you in China. I say, yeah, well, that was about 10 years ago, because that was footage from 10 years ago. That wasn't recently, but they wouldn't know that. And that is, again, being vigilant in terms of not letting everybody know your surroundings and what's happening. Sometimes somebody call you and say, where you are? And you say, well, I'm in Port of Spain heading to Arima. I'll be there in half an hour. Now, you could tell them, depending on who the person is, if it's a family member. But if it's somebody who call you randomly and say, where are you? And you say, I'm 15 minutes away from home, depending on who the person is, you might tell them 15 minutes away from home, but this time you're an hour away. Or the other way around, you might be 15 minutes away, or an hour away, or 15 minutes away from your destination, and you will tell them, well, I'm not even in the country. Things like that. So these are things that you have to be vigilant of when it comes to your technology. And as I said, security systems have evolved so much. They are now AI interface. You can have it on your mobile phones. You can have it on your computers, your tablets, and so much other gadgets, including monitoring of these devices remotely. We are out of time, and until I see you guys next week, Thursday, God willing, I have been your host, Abdul Shahan Shah Ali Qasim. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you. Until then, have a productive week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of God Almighty be with you and your families.
Sheikh Leisure Limited, making life easier. Our renowned great tasting vermicelli comes pre-cut in regular and parch, packaged to make preparation simple. Attention all doubles vendors and roti makers, try our high quality pre-sifted bromate free all-purpose and whole wheat flour, low price and conveniently packaged. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Sheikh Leisure Limited, Warrenville, Conopia.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Welcome to another episode of Peace Be Upon You. Today I will be talking about the issue of anger and anger management and how the Muslim deals with this emotion of anger. And no doubt we see that even in modern society, which exists and provides so many comforts and tries to make things easy on people, we find that the issue of anger management is still a very problematic emotion to deal with. We have phrases like anger management, road rage. We see every once in a while someone goes into a school or university angry with others in that institution and shoot the place up and kill people. So anger is something that people deal with today on a daily basis. And the Muslim also has to deal with anger, but alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jal has given us guidance in the Quran and in the authentic Sunnah of His Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that teaches us how to deal with the issue of anger. It is not that an individual will never get angry, because there are things that we will not be able to control getting angry over. There are many things